Greetings and welcome to this episode of Touhou Character Introduction, where we'll be discussing Sumireko Usami, the high school girl from the outside world with a fascination for the occult. Sumireko first appeared as the main antagonist of urban legend in Limbo, where she was able to travel to and from Gensokyo thanks to the power of the occult boss, and was planning on using them to destroy the Great Hakuei Barrier. However, after her defeat, she started being able to visit Gensokyo whenever she was asleep, by essentially astral projecting herself there, and made amends for the countless of problems she had caused. As a person, she is extremely smart and passionate, but she often tends to overdo it and can become quite stubborn and even arrogant. So yeah, she's a teenager alright. Moreover, she's also rather friendly and curious about the world, and more particularly the paranormal, a fascination that sometimes borders an obsession, that caused her to act as she did during the events of Touhou 14.5. Also, she seems to quite vocally dislike the consumeristic values that the outside world promotes. Now, before anyone complains about the existence of political and or societal views in Touhou, firstly, Touhou is a game/manga series, and much like any form of art, it serves as an outlet for creative expression for the artist behind it, and as a way for ideas and values to be spread and discussed. And secondly, Sumireko is one of the few characters directly tied to the storyline of Zuno's music CDs that delve much more into societal criticism, by being the founder of the Secret Ceiling Club and Renko's ancestor, thus acting as a catalyst for the events to happen. So I don't think it's out of place for her to express such views. But while on the topic, it's also worth noting that her statements and opinions are sometimes contradictory, most likely because she hasn't fully made up her mind about the subject at hand. Like I said, she's a teenager. When it comes to her powers, her arsenal is quite simple but certainly not to be looked down upon, and she is quite proficient in using psychic abilities like teleportation, levitation, and all other sorts of telekinesis. In addition, after urban legend in Limbo, she no longer travels to Gensokyo in her physical state, but rather, whenever she's asleep, a doppelganger of hers with whom she shares both memories and consciousness will materialize there instead. So you could consider this a form of cloning, I suppose. In terms of relationships, she's on good terms with a fair bit of the cast. For starters, both Reimu and Marisa are friends with her and look after her while she's in Gensokyo. Furthermore, she's also a close friend of Rinosuke, providing him with knowledge about the outside world and even working as a part-timer in his shop. She's also frequently visited by Mamizo, and the interesting part about that is that this happens primarily in the outside world, meaning that Mamizo crosses the barrier just to hang out with her. And while on the topic of yokai, Doremi is also a, well, let's say ally to Sumireko, having worked together to fix problems regarding the dream world. However, her friendliness with yokai does concern Kazen quite a bit, although she's been much more accepting of it recently and has even started being friendly herself. Lastly, Sumireko also has a friendly rivalry with Moku, as a result of them respecting each other's strength after their fight in 14.5. Now, Sumireko's place in the fandom is definitely interesting, as there really isn't a unanimous opinion on her. So I decided to make a post on Reddit. Yeah, we're doing this again. And well, from what I saw, people generally like her, usually because she allows the cast to interact with elements from the outside world, which is almost always hilarious. But her reputation is hurt strongly by the fact she's the protagonist of the worst spin-off game in the series by far. And if you disagree with that, then quit lying, because there's no way a human could possibly ever be a fan of Violet Detector. Well, if you like this sort of content, then by all means check out the video currently on your screen, subscribe for more, and leave a comment telling me which character you'd like me to talk about next. Have a good one.